Hi everyone, Debbie here, lesson number 9, working towards the sun salutation. So come over and join me on the mat. My herbal tea, lemon and ginger today. So make sure you've got your water close by because we might need a drink. And today we're going to start lying down, so find yourself sitting up to start with, I like. Now you're going to have to ignore these crows. I've got a couple of crows that talk to each other right from down there to this one up here. And I've looked up what crows mean. And the first meaning wasn't very nice, so I won't mention that. But the second one is transformation and change. So we'll listen to that and think that that's what it is. So sitting up, pull your flesh from underneath, arms out, and let's use our spine and warm it up straight away, increment by increment, coming down towards the floor. The vertebrae just slowly coming and contacting the mat. Hands are up towards the cosmos and just let them gently relax and fall down to the sides. Move your feet out to about hip width apart. Give your legs a bit of a shake, lifting that head up and peeling the skull back down so you've got a nice straight head. Big breath in, big breath out, relaxing on the out breath. And when you take your next breath in, imagine you're smelling the most beautiful rose, magnificent rose. Big breath, and all the air out. Make a sound on the out breath, get rid of that exasperation. You might have been putting washing on the line and racing to get dinner organised and kids organised so you can spend half an hour on the mat. So let that day go already on the out breath. Next breath in, really taking a lovely big breath into the lower part of your tummy, like your tummy's pregnant. Spread it out, stretch it, open that tummy up, fill it with air, and then all the way down through the midriff and the ribs and the lungs, letting go, letting go, letting go. Finding that beautiful, smooth breath like a tide coming in and out on the beach, the waves, rippling up and down from the surf. And while you're doing that, I want you to imagine that your shoulders are softening and everywhere where you're contacting the mat is softening. Your upper arms, your forearms, your hands, your shoulders, your mid-back, your lower back and your buttocks tissue, just spreading softly, letting go of tightness and tension. Breathing into the lungs and softening down through that tummy, the organs, the pelvic bucket, the tops of the thighs, the backs of the thighs are spreading onto your mat, onto your little sanctuary, your little island. Spreading those calf muscles, and those feet are just falling out to the sides. And the fronts of the legs, letting go, letting go, letting go. And imagining underneath your feet that root system of energy coming down and reaching through the sand and the soil and the underground water streams, all the way past the rocks and hitting that lava lake, that energy all the way down the bottom around that big orange ball, like an ember from a hot fire, and the silvery sparkling bits as you watch it turning slowly, making night and day. Really sinking down now and letting go of all worries and woes, and just being in this present moment and in this healing state, and imagining that energy coming up from Mother Earth now through those root systems of yours, all the way through your feet and into your limbs, into your torso, into your face and your head. And that energy's coming out through the crown, out through your roots, past the trees, past the clouds, into the spaciousness of our solar system, past the planets and into that Milky Way hole, that black hole. Out to the edges of space, to infinity, the edges of the solar systems, the galaxies, other planets, other stars, other Milky Ways. And as if you have energy arms reaching up and through that Milky Way black hole, and you're drawing that energy down towards your crown chakra. So it's coming past the planets, past the moon, into the day sky, into the ceiling and the roof of your house, and into the top of your crown, and filling your whole body up with cosmic healing energy, all the way down your body, filling it up through the legs, out your feet, and all the way to Mother Earth's core. Those two energies meshing and melding together, healing as they go, rejuvenating, releasing, recalibrating, renewing, rebuilding, remembering. Imagine that energy from Mother Earth coming up towards your heart now, and that energy from the cosmos still pouring in and meeting at your heart and splintering out and rippling out like sunlight, like sunbeams from your chest, to the sides, to the front, behind you and above and below you. You're just glowing like a big sun. Your etheric layer out from the side of you, arm's length to the sides, in front and behind you, and above and below you are being filled with this sunlight, this healing energy. Just listening to the base bowl and the heart bowl now, to get yourself even more grounded to Mother Earth. This vibrational sound matches your base root chakra underneath your body. Feeling really grounded, ready for your practice today. Going to be doing some preparation for the Sun Salutation. So coming and being in this beautiful space, in this beautiful healing place that you're in right now, allows ultimate and optimum health and wealth, happiness and harmony, peace and love be felt through every cell. Slowly moving your fingertips, slowly moving your toes, rolling your head from one side to the other. And when you're ready, laying onto your side in that fetal position, you can keep your eyes closed for a little bit longer. And the best way to come out of that position when you're lying on your side like that, with your head on one hand and the other hand in front of you, you use your elbow and you push up. You push your whole body up using both arms, and you come up, and we can come up to kneeling, and we can kneel like this to start with. Now if you've got really sore knees and you need to do that and pop these underneath you like that, you can. That makes them not so squashed. If you have got really bad knees, I want you to come up and stand with your feet slightly apart, equal to your hips here, because we're going to do a little bit of a back stretch. So you will be doing this, you will be switching that core on, pulling that tight pair of jeans up, and those zipper comes really tight underneath your belly button, and from those hips across to the same point. So you have a T section, and that means you push your feet into the earth, spread those toes for as much groundedness as you can get. Switching on that core will automatically tilt you under, coming under, bringing those shoulders back, arms down, and your arms can be sort of, when you roll your shoulder back, take those arms and face those palms to the opposite wall, the front wall, and then you just turn your forearm in, and that's the correct position. We'll be getting into this in a moment. See how my chin's a little bit out? So you just bring your chin in and you lengthen up through the back of your skull as if you've got a string lifting you to the sky. So once you're in that really strong position when you're standing, we can pop our hands just below the back waist and just gently, this is all switched on quite tight, but you're gently just lifting and pushing and lifting your head towards the ceiling. You're not losing yourself like this, you're not got your shoulders loose and your neck floppy. It's all about keeping that elongation of the spine. So you're pushing in here, up straight, and you're just leaning back and just looking just gently towards the ceiling as if your spine and your neck are all connected like an extension of a stick. So you're looking there and then coming back. So those ones, if you can do those a couple of times, and the people on the floor, if we can be on our heels here, and if we can reach just behind us, just gently behind us. Same thing, pulling up that core and that tight pair of jeans. But we're going to lift ourselves up a little bit as if we're sort of pushing our hips towards the ceiling, and we're just going to keep that spine really straight, and that neck is a part of our spine. It's like a stick. So we're not collapsing into our shoulders and got our head back. None of that. We're actually switching on our neck muscles, and we're looking towards the ceiling with a very straight back and a very straight neck, and coming down. So those of you that were, I hope that you had another couple of goes while you were standing there. So now we will join you, and we're going to come up, just gently tucking your toes under and lifting yourself up the best way you can. But everyone, let's start at the top of the mat. So instead of having, we'll eventually have our feet close together with our heels slightly apart at the back, but just while we're learning, let's get some stability. Let's have our feet again. Our hips aren't out here, and our hips aren't in here. If you look down and you think that your hips are sort of just in from your body, come down there, and you're going to be 2 fists apart from each other. So if you want to just bend with your knees and find that that's the case. So then we're going to be switching, those toes come up, those 4 points in the back of our bottom of our feet switch right on, and that immediately causes our calf muscles and our shins and our thighs to switch on. And again, we do that T section with our pelvis. So that's going to immediately send our tailbone towards the floor. Makes our midriff come up, our chest come up, roll those shoulders back again, hands towards the front of the room or wherever you're facing, and then just let the forearms come in and hang there. And the neck again is out with me, so a lot of people in front of computers that will happen. Just bring your chin back in and look into the distance as if you have a long string up towards the ceiling. Now, doing that in every possible same way in front of your mat here so that we can do a couple of poses. So here we are, hip width apart to start with. Our hands and our shoulders and everything are in position. We're going to come up and we're going to leave our arms apart. Eventually we'll be able to bring them together, but just for now, just have them straight up in the air, like as if we're a straight line all the way through, a plumb line. Big breath in, big breath out, and we're going to dive all the way down, bending our knees and coming and looking just between between your knees. Just look between your knees. And a nice breath here, and let your tummy tuck in a little bit, and your spine and your bottom comes up in the air a little bit higher, and you're straightening those knees just gradually and slowly, and your thighs, because the next move, this is towards the sun salutation, is you literally come up, and you're meant to have a straight back out from here. So if you come up, just come up to there, and see whether if you've got a mirror, whether you can put a cup of tea on your back and won't spill. If it's here, that's fine. If it's here, that's fine. If it's here, with your fingers really stretched, that's really good. And that's switching those backs of those legs on just while we're even doing that. So I'm just going to come to here and be with probably most of the population. We can go to here. Big breath in and big breath out again, and then coming straight back down and bending those knees a little tiny bit again, looking through those knees, past those knees. Switching that bottom on and pushing it up a bit higher towards the sky, straightening behind those knees a little bit, getting strength, you guys, all the time. So let's do that again. Let's take a big breath in, big breath out, and a big swan dive, bending into our knees, momentum coming up and straight up in the air. Don't need to look to the sky and jam your neck up, just look straight ahead. And then we're going to dive back down, and we're going to stay here and just take a breath or two. But if you want to watch me, we're going to bend our knees, and we're going to take our left leg right back. So a full step back we need to do. If you do that and follow me. Now here's the runner's lunge. So we're coming through with our chest. We're making sure the knee is over the top of the ankle and the heel, and we're stretching that heel and that leg really strongly at the back towards the opposite wall, and we're lifting our chest through. Now if this is too hard for you, you can come down like that anytime, but if you can possibly stay there, that's really, really good. And breathing in, breathing out. And let's see if we can spring a little bit and try and get towards here. And if you need to spring, and you can go like that and then like that, that will be really good. If you can spring all the way up, nearly there, that's even better. But there's no competition because we're beginners, remember, and we're learning. Same, breath in, breath out. On the out breath, letting all that old stale air out. Breath in, coming up, and then springing back with that other leg as far as we can go back there, back into that runner's lunge, switching on that back heel, pushing towards the back wall. Knee must be over your ankle and your heel. If you like this, it's giving pressure onto your knee, or if you're too far ahead, that's not good neither. It has to be pretty well in line with your arm. Now, lifting up with that chest coming through, really opening that groin. Big breath in, big breath out. And then we're going to just get a little bit of a springing action, and remember you're allowed to come down if it's too long here, if you're finding that it is shivering and shaking. So come back up though if you've had a little bit of a rest. And we're going to just spring a little bit and see how far, just come to there, and then go the rest of the way, we'll be fine. Big breath in, big breath out. Now we're going to do the same again to the other side. Big breath in, just bending down and swinging back, full length. Now plant those hands, like those gecko hands, onto the earth. So you've got to come a little bit on the inside of that leg, and see if we can switch that core on and lift that other leg. You might have to help it. Lift that other leg all the way through to downward dog. Here we are. Big breath in, big breath out, pushing with your arms really strong, legs really firm. And if you're tired, you come down to child's pose, remember? And you just rest here. Take a couple of breaths. If you're still up in downward dog, that's really good, and you can sort of start to make downward dog like a resting position. If you get really strong arms and really strong legs, you can stay here for quite a while. Breathing in, breathing out. So what we're going to do now is, part of the sun salutation is a plank. So hold your feet there, switch that core on, and then bring yourself up over the top of your hands, equal to where your hands are. Now by now a lot of you would be down here, and if that's the case, that's fine. Come down here everyone anyway. Big breath in, big breath out, because the next move is coming down with your elbows really close to your sides and then stretching onto the floor. So everyone do that. And then we do a cobra, which is a gentle push up, chest out, sternum towards the front wall we're looking at, and coming back down again. Now, we're meant to tuck our toes under here and be able to lift up and come back to downward dog. See how you go. Some people will be lifting up onto their knees, perfectly fine. Toes tucked under and getting everything switched on again and pushing that floor away. Switching on that core, that tailbone, and then you're just going to lift and hobble your knees up until you get back into your downward dog. And breathing here as if this is your resting pose. Anyone who wants to go to child pose can for a few breaths. We're just going to stay here who can, perfecting this pose, stretching our arms back. Big breath in, big breath out, and then coming down onto our knees, taking them out to the sides of the mat and having a little rest ourselves. And in the resting poses, that's when you actually need to switch all your muscles off. Let everything be soft, at ease, melting down. You know, and when we do that, we find that the lower back lengthens and it gets more spaciousness through those vertebrae all the way along our spine if we really relax. If we're tight, we're like this. Just be floppy and relax and let go. Nice one. So we're doing a fair bit today, but we're going to do another plank, and we might do a plank in a different way just to start to strengthen our tummy muscles again and our sides. And that's just bringing your knees back in here, bringing your elbows down onto the floor, so we can sort of put our bottom up a little bit, grabbing hold of your hands, just linking your fingers, taking one foot back and stretching it, bring it down, take the other one back and stretch it. Now leaning your chest right over your shoulder, your elbows. So your elbows are virtually in alignment underneath your shoulders. So they're out a little bit from your body. You're leaning a little bit towards your elbows now with your chest. Tucking your toes under. Switching that core on. 1, 2, 3, and up you go into plank. So plank, if you can hold this for a few seconds, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, and just coming down onto your knees and back to child's pose. Building strength, building that core, building the sides of our bodies, our back. They say that with the plank, if you did that and only that every day, you would just get so strong through your core and your body. So it is a pretty amazing, everything has to switch on when you think about it. Your arms are switching on, holding you up, your back, your tummy, your sides, your legs, your toes, your hands, everything's working. So coming back up onto those all fours again, grip those elbows in place underneath your shoulders, clasping your hands, moving your knees back a little bit, and then just bringing that spine like that extension, like that stick again, coming down. Now if this is all you can do, just stay here, because this is the same as a bit of a hover. Big breath in. If you're going to take it a little bit further, you can have one leg up. And that would be quite good for your tummy, and I'm feeling it all through here. So that's really good. And then you bring that knee down and you tuck that foot under and you lift that leg up. And you're trying to sort of come over towards your chest, towards your elbow area, same distance, and you're coming back down. For those who want to give it a try, tuck both feet under, leaning forward with your chest, and after 3 we go up. 1, 2, 3. And shuffling back, heels back, legs are really solid, switched on. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, and down. Knees out to the side, back into child's pose. Letting your arms, your legs, your tummy, everything relax. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Doing really well, everyone. So what we can do now is just coming back up onto our all fours. I always have to keep an eye on the time because I'm going past the half hour. Bringing those knees in underneath the hips. Tucking those toes under, because we're getting really good at our downward dogs now. Tucking those toes under, stretching back a little bit into those toes, giving a nice stretch. Big breath in, pushing the floor away, switching on those arms, gecko hands, that core, switching it on, and it's pointing towards your back wall like a very straight line through there, so it's your tummy switched on. Ready to come up, lifting knees after 3. 1, 2, 3. Pushing back into downward dog. Stretching those arms, getting them really, really straight. Paddling a little bit with the feet. Breathing here as if you could stay here all day. Nice. So getting those feet in that 2 fists apart position. And let's start to angle those edges of our heels, the outside edge of our heel towards the corner of our mat, both sides. So left heel towards the left corner of the mat, right heel towards the right corner of the mat, pushing back with your arms, trying to lift up with your bottom and straightening those legs as much as possible, and coming back down to child's pose. So with child's pose, it's very relaxing, very comforting. But we can do one more stretch with our arms here, just to open up the fronts of the shoulders. And that's literally all we have to do, is just come across to one side and stretch through the side of our body that's been getting a workout. Lengthening and breathing and softening as you go on the out breath. Melting down further and further to the floor. Really good stretch under the arm, and then just walking with your hands to the other side, across the top of that leg, reaching out and reaching and letting that whole side of your body have a really good stretch. Pull the air out, softening, melting like butter. Letting go. We're coming to the end of the class. Coming back around to the front position there. Now just what we can do here, we can really just take our hands as far as we can to the top of our mat, pop our forehead onto the floor, and keeping that spine and that elongation of that neck, we're just going to sort of try and push our chest down a little bit towards the earth. So you really try to get an arch in the middle of that upper back. And that will help us with that downward dog position with the top of our bodies. So just pushing down a little bit and stretching across the tops of the shoulders and the fronts of the shoulders. Lovely stretch. It's not having to do much, but it does do a lot really, and even into our groin. And letting go, just slowly walking back and coming up to all fours. Now this is a really good stretch for our hips. So knees under, hips, feet are flat. Just take your hand, one full hand print higher than it was. And what we need to do now is you put your right knee towards your left hand. So you bring it over like that and you tuck your foot through. Then you increment that back foot back as far as you can. And this might be as far as you get. You might be already still up here like this. Try and straighten that back. Big breath in. And you'll get a really strong stretch in your hip. And sometimes after you breathe a little bit on the out breath, you might even be able to come onto your elbows. And then after a little while, you might be able to come all the way down and just use your hands for your forehead to rest on. And the longer you stay in this one, the more the fascia spreads over that hip joint. And that will allow you to have more flexibility, more health in the hips. No hip replacements. And breathing on the out breath, surrendering, embracing this little bit of uncomfortable feeling. Again, I've spoken about how disciplined we have to be when we're out in social meetings or even with our work colleagues. You have to hold your tongue. This sort of thing here helps you have discipline within. You can cope with a lot more if you just stretch that uncomfortable feeling into surrender. And relaxing and letting go. And just pushing up with your hands back into that original position there, with your hands either side of your knee. Tucking that toe under and just bringing it in slowly towards where it would be underneath your hip, and then dragging that one back across into position. Same on the other side now. So big breath in, switching everything on, but bringing that left knee across to that right wrist, tucking that toe under and then taking that foot increment by increment back as far as you can. The top of the foot should be down, flat on the floor. You might need to move your hand over and you push up, and you should be feeling it in that hip again, that opposite side. Chest in, breathing and surrendering, just melting into it, coming down if you can onto your elbows, staying there for a little while. Breathing and letting go and being in the moment. It certainly makes you be in the moment. And softening down and surrendering until you can come down and maybe get your forehead onto the tops of both of your hands. Breath in, breath out. Letting go, letting go, letting go. Okay, getting ready to lift back up again. Putting your hands out, pushing yourself up into that position there. Bringing that back toe, moving it in with the foot back underneath your knee, underneath your hip, and bringing that leg back around. So there you are, you've done a really great job. If everyone can go back onto their heels, that would be really good. If you can't, and if you have to stand up, or if you can even do that's enough, we're just going to take the arm to the ceiling, bend it, and with the opposite hand just bring that stretch into those shoulder blades again. So you will be looking, if you can, to get your hand and give yourself a pat on the back. And relaxing and letting go. And the opposite hand comes down as far as you can, and just gently opening up that whole side of your shoulder there, giving it a stretch and giving yourself a pat on the back. And letting go of that breath as well, and coming down, just finding your way into a seated position, legs out again in front of you, pulling that flesh towards the back, finding those bum bones, sitting up straight, arms are dead set, facing the palms towards each other, straight out from your shoulders. Big breath in and relaxing and curving every vertebrae slowly onto the mat, little bit by little bit by little bit by little bit, arms up in the ceiling, and then you just let everything gracefully fall into place. Open those hips and those heels, tuck that chin under, and prepare for a lovely ending of the class. Nice big breath. Thanking yourself for being here today and making the effort. We've done a lot today again. Really proud of you guys. And really, myself, I had let my yoga go for so long, for months, since I had the classes last year, and then November, December, January, February, wow. So yeah, I was a bit naughty and I was starting to feel it, but I'm feeling really good now, and I'm sure you guys that have been following me along at the same rate will be feeling amazing as well. So just rewarding yourself by listening to the bowls now and just floating away into that healing place that you know so well, deep inside your heart, where your soul lives, your third eye, where your higher self lives, and knowing your guides and guardians and angels out in the universe, in the divine, on the other side, have been with you, barracking you on through this. Quite welcome to stay there and relax for a few more minutes before you have to get up and do other things. Knowing that you've spent some time on yourself today, we need to honour ourselves. Breathing evenly and calmly and feeling that beautiful, peaceful feeling still through every cell in your body. And if you want to, you can roll to your side and join me, but I can say namaste and you can stay right there if you want. If you're sitting up, you always press those thumbs in towards the sternum bone, letting your heart know you're there for it. Pushing your palms closely together. Lovely big breath in, bowing your head towards your hands. Namaste everyone. Thank you to the teacher within you. Enjoy your day.